Hey, runners. Welcome to day 29 of Let's Write a Song. This one is called It Comes and Goes. And it's been coming and going pretty much since we started. We started with a riff, right? And there was a lot of problems to that. So it led to some chords. And it had some, maybe it was something like that. And the idea was for it to be a verse, and then for the chorus, it was doing some, sounded kind of fun. And at some point I was like, oh, let's just go open. Well, that's kind of fun. And then we started going, well, that chorus really should go up high. So, no, sorry. Well, going up high. Right. So what we get here, I'm going to take this ring off. It knocks against the neck. So that's kind of cool. But apart from the slide, it's the same thing as just a little higher. So after practicing it a bit, this ended up being the easier thing. Make the changes, felt better for the rhythm. And I didn't miss the slide quite as often. So started to kind of mess with that. And this idea was coming off of an accent on the verse. Okay. At some point, it was happening every other line on the verse, and then it started ending up being just the last line of the verse, which then brought us back to what to do about the chorus. And we had this, as I mentioned, or the open, and then we. Okay, now that last part sounded pretty cool. We were using that for a while until I found that. Okay, now our whole verse was really just kind of going back and forth on this simple little B flat, C. Okay, but the problem is when I write, I generally write the music first. It's very, very rare that there's any scrap of lyrics around before I get the music together. And the music as an arrangement kind of guides the writing a little bit because you get a sense for the rhythm. You have an idea of how the melody might go a little bit from it, although you usually add on to it. Sometimes I'll have a line, maybe on a rare occasion a title or something like that in mind, but usually those are all working bits. So with this song, I mentioned I was driving the family to Disney World and came up with the idea of it comes and goes, left me standing by the side of the road. Well, when you're driving, road songs kind of happen, right? So left me standing by the side of the road. Interesting thought, couldn't make anything of it because I started to figure out where does that story go. It comes and goes, left me standing on the side of the road. Well, remember, I wanted the song to be a little bit of an alien thing. I thought that'd be kind of fun. Wrote a song a while ago at Radio Astron with the Runners. That was about, if you remember, the aliens received our broadcasts and decided that they were RSVPing to a party, and they were on their way to have a good time in Dwindaloo, Radio Astron, where there's a telescope observatory. And thought, well, this would be kind of fun. It was heading into Halloween. I was like, let's make ourselves a new alien song, and maybe like in some ways a companion to Radio Astron. And I started with that riff, and it felt very Joy Division. I kind of liked that. And when you went to the B flat, kind of got that feeling of how we might be able to get a dance beat behind it and come up with some cool, spooky alien lyrics. And then I went and watched the Ballad of Wallace Island, and started thinking, well, what if we slowed it down and did something a little bit more folky? Because a lot of the songs I've been writing for this next album, I guess, I don't know, I've been writing a series of songs that's going to end up something. Maybe it's solo, maybe it's with the Runners, I don't know. But I'm just writing the songs, and all of them have been pretty fast, right? We're averaging somewhere in that 127 to 135 beats per minute kind of range. I write a lot of stuff there because I like things that are upbeat. I like things where you can dance to it. But every so often we got to slow things down. So this song, I started thinking, well, if it's a Joy Division song, being a little slow would be okay. But then came the lyrics. So when we left last, we had some semblance of that arrangement. Started thinking about a bridge. Hey, that's important to note. So I'd come up with this idea for a bridge, and it was one of those things where I came up with it kind of quick. Let's go, oh, well, what if we just introduce an F between it? So it's a little variation. Okay, so remember the Wallace Island bit, right? I'm thinking, well, what if it was a little bit folky? So, channeling my inner, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Lord Huron? Maybe. We got a little bit of that going. Started to write some lyrics. And I started writing them on my phone quite a bit. If I'm flying, I'll write on a scrap of paper. That's usually where I start. But if I've got my phone, which I usually do, sometimes I'll start it there because it's easier to do that in bed than to try to turn on a book light with a pen. So I started writing, and remember, I wanted to write my alien song, but I always want to have the song be something that has multiple meanings. So if you as a listener are hearing it, it doesn't matter whether I wrote it with aliens in mind. You should hear it the way that you want to hear it, and that means that it should be open to more than one interpretation. That's the way I usually write these things. And yeah, we're going to do our first Beatle drop of this live stream, and it is a Beatle thing. Very much a Paul McCartney thing, too. And he'll come into this story in a little bit. Don't worry. So I came up with, I've been looking for answers to try and explain. And that was an interesting way to start a song. Actually, I think it started, every song when I write these lyrics has a section at the end called extra bits. And that's where all the throwaway stuff goes in case I need to bring it back. So it actually started with, hey, I've been searching for answers to questions asked long ago. All the stories and redactions leave me wanting more. I think that might have been the second verse, actually. Let's see, where do we have a first verse? We've got, oh yeah, here's the first verse. It was, hey, we'd better get down to it. Break free from these chains. Take time to find a new direction. Shake free from these growing pains. And that blows. So we got rid of that straight off. So eventually I arrived at, I've been looking for answers to try and explain. That made a little bit more sense. And then that last line, the second half of it started kind of changing quite a bit. Arrived at, cut through all the static that's been driving me insane. Now that feels a little bit more rock and roll. I like that. So now I'm doing the chorus, and I was stuck here for the longest time. All I had was, hey, it comes and goes. So once we had that, I think in the last session, we had a little bit of the moment it's found, it turns around, or I don't know, lets you down. The moment it's found, I think, was all we had for that, and it wasn't doing anything, so I got rid of that bit. And I'm trying to come up with a chorus, and all I came up with was the idea that it might be about like styles of clothes. So I had oh, it comes and goes like the style of our clothes. As our boots they touch the ground, the world it turns around, but they'll come back in again, I suppose. Well, wishful thinking, I guess. Anyway, I still have some grunge flannel somewhere. But it doesn't have a lot to do with aliens. It doesn't sound very rock and roll. I don't know how many songs there are about the cut of your clothes, as with that being the chorus of all things. So yeah, I threw that one away pretty quick. I said I'd get to Paul McCartney. So this past Sunday, I got to go see Sir Paul in concert again. And yeah, I know. I've read 10,000 pages on the Beatles. It was my 8th time seeing them. I really like it. So, of course, when I get to concerts and I hear music, I often find a way to be able to break through something I'm stuck on when writing a song, or writer's block of some sort. I'm not like lifting from what I'm hearing, but it's like the creative energy in the air just kind of break through that mental block. And sometimes other things happen. So, I had been stuck. I had some verses, but the chorus is where I was struggling. And that ties it together and would allow me to refine the verses. So the line came to me, it feels like we're not alone. Now, if you're writing an alien song, doesn't that seem obvious? But hey, that's the way things work with songwriting. It always seems obvious after it's happened, but on the way there, it's completely escaping you. And that was the case with it. The idea of it's feeling like I'm not alone. Well, I couldn't get that for the life of me. But somewhere during Paul McCartney concert, the phrase came to me. I quickly wrote it down in between taking pictures. And suddenly I started finding something to it. Now, the other part was, and you can look at this as bad news if you want. I don't know. It's my song. Oh, it's ours. Yeah, right. Hey, you go ahead and offer some input along the way here. I started finding that I really, really liked that bridge. And it made that verse seem a little less boring. So it became the verse. Right? Okay, stay with me. So that's the verse now. So when I started singing that first verse there, I've been looking for answers to try and explain, break through all the static that's been driving me insane. It started to kind of have a little bit of a flow to it. So now I wanted a pre-chorus. And I came up with, if you don't know what pre-chorus is, it's that little bit that's before chorus that repeats along with the chorus. They go hand in hand. So pre-chorus, find some hidden meaning, a familiar refrain. Now I like that bit. Tune into your signal before it fades again. Now I gotta admit, I don't use any of these AI tools to write songs. No, I'm not afraid to use AI. Hey, I've used it for the AI video animation. I've used it for being able to write some descriptions of the stuff. And I've also used it to help give suggestions on some image editing kind of stuff. But I don't use it for songwriting. Instead, maybe the tool that I use is, some rhyming dictionary to help me inspire some lines. But in this case, the line was tune into your signal before it's lost again. And I just felt like it being lost again, it kind of loses the listener a little bit. It makes you kind of go, well, if it's lost again, hey, when you get to it, it comes and goes, like you've already kind of given it away, right? So that was a place where I asked ChatGPT, what about this line? And it looked at the other stuff I had and saw that I was doing this radio signal thing and said, what about it fades again? And I was like, actually, it had some crappy line around fades, right? It's something about the ether. And I don't know. ChatGPT, when you try to get it to write lyrics, offers some poetic kind of stuff, but it always feels trite, kind of. So I just grabbed that word fades. I like that idea. So tune into your signal before it fades again. So that's all the AI used in this song. It came up with one word. And then it rooted me on as I made changes. I go, that's brilliant. Because that's what it does. It did offer the idea of adding a little bit of static and radio signal as a production touch during the fade out. I like that idea. Would it have originally occurred to me? I don't know. It might have. Usually that's the sort of conversation I have with the mix engineer when we're getting into the mix. I just kind of start with getting the music down. But it came up with that idea, again, a little obvious, but I think I'm going to use that one in the mix. So we'll see how that one goes. You can look out for that. So we've got our pre-chorus, we've got our verse, and we had to come up with the chorus. So I got rid of the moment is found, and I came up with, I think this was right after I got back from the concert. So it was late. I'm a little wired from the excitement of the show. I have a little bit of insomnia anyway. So while I'm waiting for my sleeping pill to kick in, which is sometimes a great time to write lyrics, honestly, I ended up going in whispers and stray notes. So, oh, it comes and goes in whispers and stray notes. Okay. Stray notes kind of sounds a little odd because, when you say it, you don't always hear the T, so it sounds like stray nose, but it's stray notes. Listen, I can't come up with better. Neither can ChatGPT, so we're going to go with that one. It says it's great. So we'll find out. Anyway, so now I had to go with where do you go from there? So it comes and it goes in whispers and stray notes. I had to think of why does it matter? That's important now, right? Because we've got all of our lyrics and it's about searching. It's about finding meaning, right? You could interpret it as a little bit of a love song. There's all kinds of stuff here because remember, we're writing purposely with multiple meanings. So it's not just about aliens, though it is. So I had to come up with some kind of payoff. It can't just be about how you're always searching and, search some more. So but when it's finally found, and now I had to think, okay, well, that comes from that, original line of, I think it was when it was found or something like that. That came in the last session. While we were writing, accidentally, we're just jamming along. I do that thing of la 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 la. It was finally found. It's something like that. So it came up. So I'm like, okay, there's our payoff. It's found. So what happens? Your world turns upside down. All right. I like to use world quite a bit in songs. I try to temper that, but this felt appropriate. So now we've got our last line, and we got to have something that's reasonable, right? It's still, the chorus is the thing that people remember. So like every line you got to really, really work on. I try to do that for everything, but when you get to a chorus, a shit line will throw the whole song off. So I got, and you're not alone. And that's that line from the Paul McCartney part. Feel like I'm not alone, turn into you're not alone. Okay, well, the no bit is rhyming with our open O rhyme that's happening. Oop, hit the mic. From all that. So now I was playing it along and I introduced a minor chord, another Beatle-y kind of thing, right? So we got this. Okay, so I brought back the verse for that second line of the chorus, but can I just do it again? It seems that that's redundant. So, we use it in all the verses, but in the chorus, it doesn't work to just keep repeating the same thing. At least I don't think so. So I wanted to introduce some variation. So I introduced a D minor. That feels good. So now we get to the payoff. Hey, we got something. So now I whip off of the bridge again, and we'll just repeat that part because I like the D minor. We'll repeat that twice. And then we got the rest of our verses, and we're going to fade out, and we're going to give you a little extra line at the end. And I'll let you hear that now. So let's give it a quick run through. Now, listen, when I'm playing without a click, my natural timing is going to kind of go up and down. So if you've been noticing that it's not perfect timing, when I go to record, I'll record with a click. And as far as recording goes, hey, I was saying this is a hard song, right? If you looked at the last live stream, we got It's All About You done in like a week. And that was an anomaly. I think I said it at the time. Most songs take me a little bit longer. Well, this one, and I was going, oh, I don't even know if I'm going to get a song out of this because it just kept changing. It wasn't getting anywhere. So when it suddenly came together across the last couple of days, I'm like, oh, I put together this live stream, looked at it, I'm like, day 29. So, and when am I going to go record that foundation track? Possibly as soon as later today. But worst case, I'm thinking tomorrow. Something like that. I'll record it. And then I'll take some time to edit the video, pick the best take and so forth, light mix, and we'll have it out to you. So I think you can expect that as soon as later this weekend, or next week, something like that. We'll see how it goes. It comes and goes. So here, we're going to give a quick run through of the song so you can hear where it's at right now. I've been looking for answers to try and explain. Cut through all the static that's been driving me insane. Find some hidden meaning of a familiar refrain. Tune into your signal before it fades again. And go in whispers and straight notes. When it's finally found, your world turns upside down, and you know you're not alone. I've been looking for answers to questions asked long ago, searching every frequency, what I swear I've heard before. Find me some hidden meaning, familiar refrain. Tune into your signal before it fades again. Comes and goes in whispers and straight notes. When it's finally found, your world turns upside down, and you know you're not alone. I've been searching for answers to try and explain. All the static has been driving me insane. Find some hidden meaning, a familiar refrain. Tune into your signal before it fades again. Oh, how it comes and goes in whispers and straight notes. Hey. All right. There's some rough spots, right? You got to practice a little bit. That's why we don't want to get it all in one take. But that's where we're at right now. We've written a song. Thanks for tuning in, runners. Hope you like it and look for that production sometime soon. Thank you, Sir Paul.